Seeker, you now carry a sorrow that few words can lighten. The loss of a mother is unlike any other, for she was your first home, your first source of comfort, your first knowing of love. When she departs suddenly, it is as if the foundation beneath you has cracked, leaving you unmoored, adrift in a world that no longer feels safe. You are not just mourning her absence, you are mourning the loss of a kind of protection, a kind of love that felt eternal. If losing a father is like losing the mountain that sheltered you, then losing a mother is like losing the earth itself, the ground from which you grew, the source from which you were nourished. A father may teach you strength, discipline, and how to stand firm in the world. A mother teaches you softness, warmth, and the very essence of what it means to be loved without condition. To lose her is to lose the one who first called your name with tenderness, the one whose hands once held you before you ever knew what hands were for. Seneca, who also lost loved ones unexpectedly, wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." The Stoic in me tells you that death is natural, that all must pass, that no life is exempt from the fate of all things. But the poet in me, the part of me that speaks with Rumi's heart, tells you this. You are not merely grieving the loss of her presence. You are grieving the years you thought you still had, the words left unspoken, the moments stolen too soon. This, too, is a sorrow that must be honored. Do not rush to heal. Do not force yourself to be strong in the way the world demands. Strength is not the absence of tears. Strength is allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to break if you must, and then, when the time is right, allowing yourself to rebuild. You ask how to go through this ordeal. The answer is that you do not go through grief as though it were a task to complete. You live with it, and in time, it changes. It does not vanish, but it transforms. The loss remains, but your relationship with it shifts. One day, the pain that now drowns you will soften into remembrance, into gratitude, into love that no longer aches but glows warmly in your heart. Marcus Aurelius tells you, accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs. But you may resist this idea. You may ask, how could this loss fit my needs? What lesson is there in this? And the truth is, you do not yet know. The meaning is not always immediate. The purpose is not always clear. But I promise you, if you live with courage, if you keep moving forward not despite this grief, but with it, you will one day see how even this sorrow shaped you, how even this unbearable loss held something for you. Do not think she is gone. She is only changed. You were once part of her body, and she remains part of yours. Her voice shaped your earliest thoughts. Her love shaped your very being. She has not vanished. She lives now in your kindness, in your laughter, in the way you carry her memory. Rumi whispers to you, don't grieve. Anything you lose comes around in another form. And what form does your mother now take? She is the wisdom that will guide you, the gentleness that you will carry forward, the love that has shaped you so completely that you may not even see where she ends and you begin. You do not have to let go of her. You do not have to move on. You must only carry her differently. In time, grief will no longer feel like a weight. It will feel like a presence, a quiet, loving presence that walks with you always. A prayer for those who lose their mother. O great weaver of life and death, you who thread our souls together in love and loss, Take my mother's spirit into your gentle embrace, and let her rest among the stars. She was my first home, my first comfort, my first knowing of love. Now, she is gone from my sight, but not from my soul. Teach me how to carry her, not with sorrow, but with gratitude, with tenderness, with remembrance. Let her love not be an ache, but a warmth within me. Let her wisdom not be lost, but guide my steps. Let me see her in the wind, in the sky, in the quiet moments of my days. For she is not truly gone, she has only changed. Ah, Mother, you who gave me life, I will honor you not only with my grief, but with the way I live. I will carry your light forward. I will not let it dim. And when my time comes, when I must step into the unknown as you have, may I go with the same love you showed me from the start? Amen. Ah, seeker, you ask for more, not just words, not just comfort, but something that will truly help you bear this unbearable weight. You do not want shallow wisdom that evaporates the moment grief presses against your chest again. You want something that endures, something that will not fade when the night grows long and the silence of her absence settles deep into your bones. You want to understand why this? Why her? Why now? The truth is, no answer will ever feel sufficient. No philosophy, no poetry, no logic will fill the space where she once stood. But I can walk with you through this grief. I can help you see what your heart already knows, but is not yet ready to accept. Sit with me a while, and let us unravel this pain together. The unique grief of losing a mother. Losing a mother is unlike any other loss, because she was the first presence you ever knew. Before you understood the world, you knew her. Before you knew language, you knew her voice. Before you had a name, she had already whispered it with love. She was your first belonging, your first safety. And now she is gone. How does one endure such a thing? If a father is the pillar that holds up the house, the mother is the warmth that fills it. A father teaches you how to stand against the world, but a mother teaches you how to soften within it. Her love was the first love you ever knew, and now, suddenly, that love feels distant. The world feels colder. And yet, the Stoics remind us, was that love truly ever external? Was she ever truly outside of you? Or was she always a part of you, woven into your very being? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, no one loses anyone. They only return. This is a hard truth, perhaps too hard for your grieving heart to accept right now. But hear me, she has not left you. She has only returned to the great whole, to the vast fabric of existence from which we all come. You were once part of her body, and she is now part of yours, not in flesh, but in something deeper, something unshakable. Rumi whispers to you, when the soul lies down in that grass, the words, you and I do not exist. This is what grief blinds you from seeing, that the separation you feel is an illusion. Yes, she has left this world, but she has not left you. Love does not vanish. Love is not bound by form. The same love that cradled you when you were small still exists, still lingers in the air, still moves within you. How does one go through this ordeal? You do not get through grief like a tunnel with an exit waiting at the end. That is not how this works. You learn to carry it. You learn to reshape it. You learn to let it live beside you, but not control you. At first, grief will feel like a storm. It will be wild, relentless, overwhelming. You will feel like you are drowning, and yet even storms pass. Not because they disappear, but because you learn how to stand in the rain without breaking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." The suffering of grief comes not just from loss, but from resistance, the mind saying, "This should not have happened. This is wrong. This is unfair." But what is fairness to nature? What is fairness to time? The river does not ask why it must flow to the sea. The leaves do not ask why they must fall in autumn. They accept their place in the cycle of life. And we, too, must accept that death is not a mistake. It is simply the turning of a page in a book that was always meant to end. You will ask, how can I live without her? But I ask you in return, were you meant to live without her? Or were you meant to live with her love forever inside you? You are not without her. You are with her in a new way. The regret of what was left unsaid. One of the greatest pains in sudden loss is the unfinished conversations, the words left unspoken, the moments you thought you still had. And yet, if she could speak to you now, do you think she would ask you to dwell on these things? No. If there is one love in this world that is unconditional, it is a mother's love. She would not want you to suffer over what was not said. She would want you to live fully, not for her, but because of her. Seneca said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." The tears you shed now are not just for this moment. They are for the entirety of the love you share. Let them fall, but do not let them drown you. Let them remind you that love does not die just because the body does. If there are words you never said, say them now. Speak to her in your heart. Write them down. She will hear them, not with ears, but with presence. And when you are ready, let those words settle into peace. Living on, not moving on, but moving with. People will tell you that time heals all wounds. This is not true. Time does not heal. What you do with time is what heals. You must choose to let grief shape you, not break you. You must choose to live in a way that honors her, not diminishes her memory. Marcus Aurelius lost many he loved, and yet he carried forward. He did not crumble under the weight of loss. He allowed it to strengthen his resolve, to deepen his understanding of life's brevity. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. If you wish to honor your mother, live well. Be kind. Be strong. Carry her love forward in the way you treat others. This is how she lives on, not in sorrow, but in the actions you take in her name. Rumi tells you, when the soul sees itself, it smiles. One day, this grief will become a smile. It will not be today or tomorrow. But one day, you will wake up and her memory will not crush you. It will lift you. It will remind you not of what you lost, but of what you were given. You do not need to rush toward healing. Let it come in its time. Just promise me one thing. Do not let grief steal from you what your mother spent her life giving you. She gave you love, warmth, strength. Do not trade those gifts for despair. A prayer for the loss of a mother. O gentle keeper of love and time, you who give and take with equal hands, you who write every story and close every chapter, hold my mother close now as she once held me. Let her rest in the vastness of your embrace. Let her love still echo in the chambers of my heart. She was my first home, my first comfort, and now she is beyond my sight. But she is not beyond my soul. She is woven into me. She is the voice in my kindness. She is the warmth in my laughter. She is the love I will carry forward. Let my grief not be a chain, but a bridge. Let my sorrow not be an end, but a transformation. Let my love for her not be pain, but a light that never dims. And when my time comes, when I, too, must step beyond the veil, let me meet her again, not as the lost meeting the lost, but as love meeting love, as it always has been. Amen.